Still learning how to drive soon. There we go. Okay, so Gabrielle, we've got Lani here as well. Oh, I've got two more people in the waiting room, so I'll just see who they are and let them in. Oh, that's weird. No, they're not people. That's the note taker. Okay, I think we're okay for now. All right, so let's get started. So the topic that I wanted to talk about is the ADHD tax. And so in describing that, that would be money that comes out of our account, um, often at the most inopportune times, and often causes us to be stressed and having to overcompensate and get upset because of the way that our mind works. We often forget things, or we are disorganized. Have you been diagnosed with ADHD?
Yes.
You have, okay. Because I know there are quite a few people who self-diagnose, and I'm one of those people. And that's only because I've been to lots of different GPs, psychologists, psychiatrists, and they all misdiagnose me with other things. And I think probably because there wasn't enough information out there as far as women go. So, like ADHD in boys and men is very obvious because they're jumping off the walls. But with girls and women, we tend to be of the more inattentive type. So, the ones that daydream and are quiet and shy. Um, so it's often not picked up until later in life when women are going through perimenopause, which exacerbates the symptoms. I won't go too much into asking you personal questions, but so the other things that I wanted to talk about with regard to the ADHD tax is just giving some examples. So things like missing payments and impulse purchasing, overspending, not keeping an eye on what we've got in our bank account. Um, Often we have things like subscriptions and memberships that we are paying for, that quite often we don't even use or we've stopped using. um, what else? Missed deadlines due to poor time management. And that can often affect um, our working life. So, whether we have a business of our own or if we work for someone else, it can be quite stressful because our time management um, isn't always the best. Like for me, myself, I'm one of those people who doesn't like to be late. I hate being late and I hate other people being late. But I know other ADHD people are always late.
Mhm.
I don't know which one you are, but and it doesn't really matter. It's just like it affects different people in different ways, because ADHD or other neurodiversities have different effects on different people. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about as well. And also, the next thing I wanted to say was often people with neurodiversities are have lower incomes because of what I talked about before with the time management and often social anxiety and that kind of thing as far as jobs go. And for some people, it's really hard to hold down a job because of their neurodiversity. And not only that, it's hard for them to hold down a trust. They get bored easily, or we get bored easily, and so we need to be stimulated by something. Otherwise, we just lose interest, and it just becomes a chore. And so, what other people might see as laziness or non-committal, that's just the way our brain works, and it has, of course, an effect on our financial life. Which has a flow on effect to our emotional life. And for some, that can be quite drastic. Like I know for myself, are a long string of what I used to consider failures or self-sabotage, resulting in negative self-talk, the way that I felt about myself, and the way I felt about myself affected what I did in the world or what I didn't do in the world. And, for some people, that might go as far as debilitating anxiety or depression. For me, I had both, and also accompanied by agoraphobia, where I couldn't leave the house for long periods of time on my own. I had to have someone with me. And I used to have episodes of it, and they'd last for months at a time, and then I just flip out of it. I have no idea how. But all the things that I tried, such as counseling or therapy or um, medications, none of it worked. And so I just kind of had to figure out ways to help myself. And in the end, it really just came down to coaching for me. I know that medication works for some people, counseling and psychotherapy works for other people, or a combination of both of those things with medication and therapy. But yeah, so where was I going with that? I think, oh, okay. So I was talking about the financial impact, and I was looking at some studies, and there were none that I can quote here, but studies that have and anecdotal reports that suggest that adults with untreated ADHD can lose from $5,000 to $10,000 annually due to what we've spoken about so far. I would actually go as far as to say more, in my case at least, and probably I'm not the only one, in missed opportunities or, you know, that inattentive thing where we just lose interest and it's just too hard to keep going. Um, and the other thing I wanted to say too about that is apparently there's 1 in 14 people now are ADHD, and that's just people who are diagnosed. So there's probably a lot more who haven't been diagnosed, which is really interesting. I could go into some of the things that I think are responsible for that, such as social media, um, and that's well documented. And it's interesting because I used to be someone who loved reading books. That was one of my loves. And then when social media came along, I stopped reading, or I over time I stopped reading. I never read books now. I still love them. I still buy them, but I don't read them. So here I am spending this money on books, and not only books, but also artistic, creative things that I think I'm going to use, that I want to use, but I never do. They just sit lying around because I always think I'm missing out on something online. So, and that brings me to another thing, which is addiction. And I think that I became addicted to social media very early on because of the connection that you have with other people. Because people with neurodiversity are often disconnected in ways from other people. And so for me, that was a way to make connections with people and to have a voice without feeling exposed. Yeah, so the financial what's the word I'm looking for? Uh
Impact?
consequences, I guess, of having ADHD can be quite high, as well as the emotional consequences. And when you think about the emotional consequences, they affect everything else. So they can affect your family life, your relationship with your partner if you have one, obviously your working life, your health. For some people, I kind of got into the addictions just briefly, but I want to talk a little bit more about that. And for me, emotional eating is one of my addictions, as well as the addiction to social media. It's that dopamine hit. It's how we get it. And we learn that we can get it really quickly by those things. And some people have, obviously the big ones, the alcoholism, the gambling addictions, the porn addictions, not so much for women, but men a lot more so. Can be addicted to almost anything. And most people, I think, actually are addicted to something. Some of them might not be so bad. Like, I didn't used to think that social media addiction was bad, but it definitely has its negative consequences. Like I said earlier, I don't read anymore. And even though I would like to, there's just something in my brain that says, no, there's more pressing things online that I need to be doing. And so I don't. And the same with creative pursuits. Okay, so um, I don't know how long this will go, but I was sort of planning on about 20 minutes, depending on who was here and whether there were questions. If you have any questions, just sing out. I don't mind if you want to interrupt anything. Okay, so I've come to the part now where we can talk about solutions and how to mitigate some of these um, issues with the ADHD tax, and I've just listed a few here. So you've probably heard it all before. Um, that's another thing with ADHD. We often hear things, but we don't sort of take it in. Um, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when I've gone through a few things on my list. So reminders and checklists to track bills and deadlines and important tasks, automating payments to reduce late fees, organizing frequently used items in a consistent place to prevent losing things like keys and wallets and phones and stuff like that. Budgeting and planning, which can be a real pain in the bum, but it can make all the difference. To plan big purchases and reduce impulsive spending. And then there's body doubling. I don't know if you've heard of that. Where you have someone near you who's not necessarily working with you, but they're doing their own stuff, but they're there just to keep you focused on what you're doing. And then there's the way that we treat ourselves. So self-compassion, um, self-forgiveness, self-love, self-worth, all of that stuff is really, really important, especially when it comes to things like self-sabotage, which is my specialty in my coaching business. Because when you have when you have self-sabotage, there's always a component of one of those things, and mostly it comes down to self-worth. So not believing that we deserve what it is that we desire. And people often don't like to admit it because it's just too painful. But that's one of the things, that's the number one thing I would say when it comes down to self-sabotage. And sometimes self-sabotage can look like we're being sabotaged from the outside as well. And that can be where it can become quite tricky, because if we don't take responsibility for whatever is happening in our lives and we blame other people or other things around us, our situation isn't going to change. So I don't mean self-blame, but more about looking at things from more of a bird's eye view, if you like. So looking from above down instead of being in the situation, and looking at all the different angles that you could change the way that you see things. Yeah, so that can be a big one for people, because when you're in the midst of something, like if you're triggered by someone or something, it's very hard to take yourself out of that situation and see that way, especially if you're right in it. So sometimes you need to take some time away and maybe journal. It's something that I like to do, or just, I don't know, speak into a recorder or something. There's lots of different ways that you can come to seeing things in a different way, reframing things for yourself. And then, of course, the other thing, I would say the most important thing for me as far as mitigating self-sabotage, and I'm not saying that I don't do it anymore, I still do it sometimes in more um, and less obvious ways. So for me, the mitigation came about from getting coaching, because that provides not only a supportive, um, what can I say, a supportive environment, but also accountability. So if you say you're going to have a checklist or do some budgeting or whatever it is, you've got someone there to keep you accountable, and you know that they are there for your best interest. And also it comes down to, as far as for my specific experience, coaching has helped me to keep me on track with my purpose and not get distracted. I still do get distracted, but not as much from the things that I want to create in life. And as long as I can keep on track with that kind of stuff and not get distracted as much as I used to, I'm less likely to become um, or become a not a failure, but less likely to give up on things, and less likely to how do I explain? Less likely to give up on things, but also be distracted. I mentioned those two things. There's something else on the top of my brain that it's not coming to me right now.
Burnout?
Hmm? Burnout,
Burnout.
that's a big one. I did that a couple of years ago, when I was doing a lot of coaching sessions for free. And in the end, I did burn myself out and had nothing to show for it, and became quite despondent because I'd spent a lot of money for coaching myself, but I wasn't getting the coaching that I needed. I wasn't getting the one-on-one that I needed. It was more group coaching. Um, so yeah, the one-on-one and having a supportive community around has made all the difference for me. But yeah, it took me a long time to come out of that burnout, actually. It took me probably about 9 months. I wasn't on social media for about that long, or I didn't post. I might have been sneaking around looking at people's things, but I wasn't posting for that long, and I didn't wasn't running my business for that long. But that's because I gave up on the coaching program that I had signed up with, because I wasn't getting what I needed from them, wasn't getting the one-on-one help or the community. So yeah, burnout's huge with ADHD. Have you experienced that yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got a business?
Yes, I've got a little art business.
Mm-hmm. What do
Stitch
you
and
do?
Smile.
Stitch and Smile. That
Yeah.
sounds interesting. So, so do you make clothing, or what do you make?
Um, I mostly do a lot of toys.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm learning how to do
Very cool.
clothes. Yeah.
That's very cool. And how long have you had your business for?
About a year.
Mm-hmm. And so is that something that you love to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really important for people with ADHD or neurodiversities, that it has to be something that you love to do. Otherwise, you're just gonna not gonna do it, you know. Was that something you liked to do when you were younger?
Yeah, I loved it.
Beautiful. I love that. What's the name of your business? Stitch and Smile
With Gabby.
with Gabby. Okay, cool. And do you have a website?
Um, I'm still
Yeah,
learning that too.
yeah, I know. So how do you get your customers?
Through Facebook.
Hmm.
And I do have a Square website.
Hmm. Is that one that you have created yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I hear stories like that all the time because of the ADHD tax, that we end up having lower incomes, struggling more, can't afford other people to help. And so we end up trying to do everything ourselves and get burnt out. And so, yeah, it can be really hard. I've experienced that time and time again. I've tried um, starting up lots of little businesses. I've had a few different ones. I started out writing resumes and that was all right, but it wasn't going to make me rich or anything, you know, because AI does all of that stuff now. So that's something that I wouldn't go back to. And also, people are turning to AI for coaching too. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. I mean, AI can't do obviously can't perform the same as a real person can. It can't give you the empathy, it can't give you the experiences that a real person can. It can do a lot. Like I know that Tony Robbins has his own AI, and so people pay for that monthly, and they feel like they're actually speaking with him. And there are other coaches too that have their own AI. And I mean, it can take people through progressions. They can move forward as far as that goes, but the value there just isn't the same as working with a real person. It just can't be.
Would you use both? Mm.
AI for coaching. I will always go for an actual person because not only because there's that connection, but also there's usually a community involved where you can feel part of something, which is another big thing for people with neurodiversity, often feel like they're on the outside or don't belong anywhere. And then the other aspect of that is often events that they might run that you can go to and actually meet people and hug people in real life and get to make new friends and that kind of thing, which AI can't provide. So, I mean, yeah, it can have its benefits, but for me, it's just a slow version of coaching. Yeah. Do you have any questions about what we've spoken about? I see that Lani has disappeared. She was with us earlier, but she seems to have disappeared.
Um, well, I'm looking for an ADHD coach.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know what to look for.
Mm. Well, some people would say that you need to look for a coach who says they're an ADHD coach and has some kind of certification to say so. But I kind of disagree with that. I've worked with a lot of ADHD people and I've got testimonials in my group. I think you're a member of my group. Yeah, you must be because you're on
Yeah.
this call. Um, so but it's very hard to find someone that you gel with, that you can trust, to get the result that you're looking for. I guess it's just for me, I offer 5 days of free coaching so that people can get to know me and work and understand what it is to work, how it is to work with me. Um, so if that's something that you're interested, I'd be very happy to arrange a time for us to talk about that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we can organize that personally. I'll send you a personal DM. Um, Just trying to think what else I can talk about. There's so much to talk about as far as the ADHD tax goes. There's also the governmental side of it. Like if you've been diagnosed yourself and you said you had been, obviously that gives you more benefits as far as the government goes.
Oh, they are very hard to get.
Hmm. Um, so I'm not I've never been diagnosed, so I haven't gone through the whole assessment thing myself, but I know that once you have been diagnosed, there are benefits that open up to you. I'm not quite sure how you go about it because, as I said, I've never been through it myself, but I know that you can be uh, one of the benefits is you can have a carer, um, or you can get some kind of funding for coaching, um, or therapy. And I think there are tax breaks as well for those things too, as well as starting businesses. I have to look into that more because I know that a lot of the people in my group probably are in the same situation you are, who have been assessed but aren't quite sure where to go for help as far as that kind of stuff goes. I do have a friend actually who's just gone through the whole situation, so I'll have a chat with her and see what she has to say about that, and maybe we can do a three-way with you so you can find out what she's done and what she's able to do now as a result. But yeah, there are so many things that I haven't discussed around that side because I'm not fully up to date on all that kind of stuff. But as far as the actual helping you to keep on track with what your goals are and overcoming trauma, which is a big thing with ADHD, and self-sabotage, those are the three things that I specialize in. And yeah, we can talk some more about that privately. So it's 1:26 now. Your daylight savings finished now, so you're on the same time zone as me, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I've got family coming shortly, and I'm going to be looking after my little granddaughter. So, do you mind if I put this on YouTube, or is that too personal for you? I don't mind if you say no.
Oh, yeah,
You're okay with that? Yeah,
yeah.
we haven't gone into anything too personal, so if you don't mind, then yeah, I'll do that because I would like for people to know that are you on medic? No, I won't ask you that. We can talk about that personally. I would like for people to know um, that it doesn't have to be hard to get the help that you need. It's just being able to be I guess the information is hard to get a hold of out there because if you go through the whole system, they will only send you to who they feel is qualified. They, like, for instance, they won't send anyone to me because I haven't got an ADHD specific certification. Although I've been thinking about doing one, I just haven't felt it's been necessary up until now, but maybe I will. Um, I forget where I was going with that. Yeah, well, I might leave it at that. I'll send you a personal message and we can talk some more about the 5 days of coaching that we can do together for free. And also possibly connect you with my friend who's just gone through the whole assessment thing and see what she's found out about what's available to her. Because I don't know if the assessment in New South Wales is the same as what it is here in Queensland. It might be totally different. I know it's totally different in whatever different countries. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, if you don't have any more questions, or if you do, I'm happy to help if you do.
Um, well, I'd like to learn how to manage ADHD tax.
Hmm. Yeah, well, that I can help you with that. It's like I've got a whole heap of checklists and templates and things that I use to keep myself on track. And I use those in conjunction with the coaching that I get from my coach. Yeah, it's not an easy solution, but once you have all the bits and pieces all together, it works. And you feel like, for me, I feel like I'm really on track. And I'm not young anymore like you are. You look like you're like late 20s, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So I'm 59 and I've only just got my shit together, right? And it's only because I think a big part of it has been trying to find the right coaching program for me. I have had lots of other coaches that just didn't work out for whatever reason. Mostly it was because I wasn't getting the one-on-one coaching that I needed. And yeah, but we can talk about that and yeah, definitely can help you with all the templates and the management and all of that kind of stuff. And do you have children?
No.
Okay, cool. So you can focus just on yourself. That's amazing. I love that. All right. Well, it's 1:30 now. Do you have any more questions or anything else that you'd like to say before we close the
Mm,
call?
I think that's about it.
That's beautiful. I'm really glad to have met you. You seem like a really lovely lady. And we'll talk again soon. I probably won't message you until tomorrow because I've got, like I said, family coming shortly and we're going to be school holidays and all that kind of stuff. So they're going to the movies and I'm looking after the little one. So I will message you tomorrow
Yep.
and yeah, we'll talk some more.
Yep.
Thanks
Okay.
so much for coming. I'm so
Okay.
happy that you did. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here on my own.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get back to you soon and hope you have a lovely rest of your Friday. Have you got plans for the weekend?
Not a lot.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, we'll talk again maybe tomorrow. I'll message you and maybe we can have a private Zoom together and talk some more about what you need.
Yep.
How's that? Cool. All right then. I'll talk to you then.
Okay.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.